Coincidence, synchronicity, and manifesting. How does it work all together? That's exactly what we're talking today on Mindful Manifesting. You're listening to Aryana Rollins. And if you would like to kickstart your manifesting journey, you can get a free workbook at mindfulachiever.com. Little guided meditation in there and an exercise. It's really good. All right. I'm really looking forward to this episode because I've noticed an uptick in synchronicities. Like amazing. I'm going to share 3 examples just happened the last couple days, this week, in fact. But before we get into the details let's talk about what's the difference between coincidence and synchronicity. You may think of coincidence as, like for most people, it's just unexpected, kind of a convergence of events. And there doesn't seem to be any personal significance. It's just a coincidence. Okay. What Carl Jung, he determined his term, the way he defines synchronicity, it's more meaningful. It's has particular significance to someone. It's personal. And he describes synchronicity as meaningful coincidences. Isn't that brilliant? Meaningful coincidences. As if the universe has tailored these occurrences specifically for us, even though they may feel like they're rooted in chance, or people who don't listen to their intuition and they're not aware of synchronistic moments because they're happening all the time. So let's talk about how this weaves into manifesting. Let's bring it all together from intention to reality. Okay, so I want to share a story. 3 different things happened this week. So I live in Austin, and we're fortunate to have a Capital One cafe near me. It's like 3 miles away. It's so good because they have the most delicious coffees, and it's 50% off if you have a Capital One credit card in the United States. So I had a full week scheduled, and it was Wednesday morning, just yesterday. And I thought to myself, because I usually only go to Capital One on the weekends. This is where I do my creative writing and I prep my social media posts and things. It's my space to push back the world, enjoy my yummy latte with a little heavy cream on the top. And I just earbuds in. I'm in the zone, in my creative zone. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, it would be so nice to go to Capital One midweek, on a Wednesday. Guess what happened? I had that thought. And around 7:30 in the morning, I log onto the internet and I'm just checking things, getting ahead of the day. Internet was all wonky. I had a call with one of my team members, and we were on Zoom, and we couldn't see each other, but we could hear each other. We couldn't share screens. I thought, this is so weird. The internet is really weird today, really wonky. So then I said, I better get this checked out because I might have trouble with Zoom calls throughout my day. So I figured out the phone number to the cable company, called them. After about, an hour of troubleshooting, really great customer service guy. Really appreciated him because he was super patient, super chill. And he said, we need to get a repairman out there. This looks a little bit more serious. I'm like, oh, interesting. So I'm looking at the time, and I'm like, okay, when's my next call? And can I get to a coffee shop and do my meetings from there? So he said, yeah, 1 to 2. I said, perfect timing. I mean, you couldn't have been better. So I go to the coffee shop, and I'm just chilling out, enjoying my lattes. In fact, I treated myself to 2. So that I was thinking back, whoa, be careful what you think about, Aryana. You wanted to go to Capital One today. And look at what you manifested. From intention to reality, when our thoughts become things. So there were 2 others where In fact, another one happened today. So I have, I don't know, it feels kind of like a superpower, something that really takes care of me when I need a break. I will have a client reschedule. And that happened on Tuesday. And I was like, that's so interesting because Tuesday was a really full day. Meaningful, good day, but full. And my last client call rescheduled. I was like, oh, is that a coincidence? Or is it an unexpected, like particular significant moment? I tend to think it is because I've witnessed it over time. This isn't just once or twice. I count hundreds of times where suddenly a client will reschedule when I really needed a break, or the internet will go wonky. And then so I get to go to the coffee shop and work. And it was brilliant because I had my earbuds in. And, with Zoom, you can kind of blur the background. Nobody knew where I was. And it was perfect. And then I come back, have my lunch. Repairman comes. 20 minutes later, everything's working. And I'm like, on with the rest of my day. So for me, it had meaningful significance. It had a deeper meaning that when I ask for something, it happens. It happens. And it's not just for me. It happens with a lot of people. So how do we link synchronicity? How does this tie in with manifesting? So I want to share with you something. It was something that I coined many years ago in a program that I teach called Power to Focus. And it was particularly designed for entrepreneurs because I notice a lot of entrepreneurs would have a passion around their work, but the more nitty-gritty details, implementing projects, it escaped them. They didn't have the skill set. Well, my background is in project management. I worked throughout Europe and in South America and Venezuela as a project manager. I was pretty good at it, and worked for some very high-end companies, Sun Microsystems, Bell South, and one of the things that I had the ability to do was to see the bigger picture. And then as project managers work is they outline the steps, how to get there. And this is interesting because the way I teach manifesting is we don't detail the steps. We don't say you have to do this first, second, third. We have, in fact, I'm creating a talk for a summit I'm going to be in on manifesting for those on the spectrum. And I go into detail about that because those on the spectrum, me included, I found out in my 50s, I don't think they call it anymore, but Asperger's. And I was like, wow, that explains so much. I had no idea. And there's a different way those kind of people will manifest. So I'm looking forward to that summit. It's going to be recorded, I think, next week, and I think it's March or April when it goes live. Okay, I digress. So I recorded this program. I've taught it live several times, specifically for entrepreneurs, to give them the skill set of project management from but a unique perspective. Instead of that nitty-gritty, every single step, putting timelines to it, and then, checking it off as you go, I did a more intuitive project planning. And it included a little ebook with it as well. And it had the steps in there. Intuitive project planning. It was so cool. There were people wanting to book their next live event, and they were looking for the perfect space. Well, this just dovetails so brilliantly with manifesting, doesn't it? Because they identified the amount of money they wanted to pay, where they wanted the location, and all of a sudden it flowed to them. Synchronistic events guided them to that perfect place. And so many other wonderful manifestations in that Power to Focus program. You know what? I'll put the link in the show notes because I think you can get a home study version, which it's one of my favorite programs because it's a really gentle onboarding into the work that I teach. Shows you how to identify blockers, interfering habits, patterns, ways of thinking that will block us from getting the intuitive messages, block us from those synchronistic moments. So things don't flow and we're like a salmon swimming upstream. So you learn how to identify blockers, how to clear blockers, and how to intuitively project manage for something like manifesting, bringing in what you want. Okay, so there were two other, I already shared those, that clients rescheduled. And there was another really big one. Escaped me. I should have wrote it down. I was going to share it with you. Is that just demonstrating to me that my words have power. My wishes have power. And like the last episode, 138, I think, last week, the power of your words are your wand. And I go into the detail of how important it is what you're saying to yourself, what you're thinking, because you're causing things in a way, hopefully, that you want. So, like I got to go to Capital One and enjoyed my yummy latte on Wednesday instead of working from my home office. So let's move into these 3 keys that I outlined in the Power to Focus training. I want to share those with you. Okay, so these are 3 keys which I called to unlock your power to focus so that you can start to bring into physical reality that which you desire, your intention. So the first key is to make sure you're aligned. Your heart and your will are aligned with your project or your intention, your goal, before initiating, before saying yes. This is really important because a lot of us walk through life where we have these thoughts, I really want that, but the timing isn't right, or our energy isn't aligned, and we can beat ourselves up for not taking action to bring that into reality. So we have this thought, I really need to get a new job, or I really need to upscale my social media efforts and start doing videos. But a part of us, it could be a blocker, it could be resistance, or it could be that it's just not right timing. We're better at writing right now and not being on video. So when your heart and your will, or your heart and your body, if you think about your mind, body, heart, everything, like you're firing on all cylinders, everything's aligned. And you know those flows. We often experience them when we're taking a vacation because we're not forcing ourselves to do what we don't want to do. I'm going to repeat, that's really important. One of the things that you may notice when your time is your own, when you're on vacation, is that you're doing what you want to do. You're not forcing yourself to do what you don't want to do. Most of us live a life where there's all these demands and expectations that we force ourselves much of the day. Terrible way to live, really is. So first, key to unlocking your power to focus, bringing things into physical reality, make sure your head, heart, and will are aligned with your project or your goal or intention before saying yes. Okay. Second is notice, pay attention to synchronicities. Pay attention to the little breadcrumbs along the way. As an example that I shared, my internet went out, and I had wanted to get out of the home and go get a yummy latte. Well, if I were not aware of the power of synchronicity and these little breadcrumbs, I could have got really upset and frustrated. Wasted a lot of time trying to get the internet sorted rather than surrender and say, oh, I'm getting what I want. Yay! And then just joyfully, zoom off to the coffee shop, right? So synchronistic moments, and this takes awareness. This takes some training, actually, because a lot of people may not see the connection. They may not see that what they've been asking for, this is the first step to take. Well, what happens if they're not aware? There could be blocker energy, there could be resistance, they could be tired, they could be just, they haven't trained their senses to pay attention to synchronistic moments. And that's not automatic for everybody. There is training. I think we don't realize that, but there is training to become aware and sensitive to life trying to help us, life trying to serve us, the universe bringing something on a silver platter for us. If we lead our life, though, on the other hand, from our mind only, then we're going to get frustrated. We're going to get irritated because it doesn't look like what I want it to look like. Going back to when I was a project manager, if that next step didn't happen and unfold in the right timing, then I get behind, which is why it's a very stressful job and why I decided I didn't want to go back to it when I moved back to the States. I didn't want to be a project manager. So training yourself to match and observe that this goes with this. Observe the synchronicities. That's second step. Third step is take action. Take action when you see the opportunity. Like yesterday, could I have fussed and fretted around, trying to get the internet, forcing it to get to work? Yeah, I could have done. Then it would have been my lunchtime, and I'm like, oh, I missed the window. But I saw the window of opportunity, an hour and a half, scooted there because I had to, didn't I? I had to because the internet was out. So, having that clarity, what you want for your goal, project, intention, before you take action. 2, observe the breadcrumbs, the synchronistic moments. And 3rd is take action. Don't dawdle. When you see that window of opportunity, respond. And then it's like you're kind of floating and there's not pressure to get things done, unlike conventional project management. You're using your intuitive mind and the universe to conspire with you to create what you want. So, from intention to reality, thoughts being manifested. So, play with this, and I will put the link in the show notes. If you want to take a look at Power to Focus, I need to rename it because it really does not imply everything you get in it. But it's a fantastic little home study. You could get started right away, and I think you'll love it. All right. So, as we wrap up, remember, as you confirm yourself, you chart your own path to success. So much love, many blessings. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.